cheap without a catalyst can stay cheap for years, right? Because it's ignored. People just don't even see it. So you can have a stock that's a very cheap stock, even one that's below book value, that can stay cheap for 2, 3, 4, 5 years because there's no catalyst to recognize that value. So share buybacks are one. The other is, obviously, if you have a company that's in some sort of legal turmoil, whether it be a Chapter 11, big lawsuits against it. You look back at Bank of America a couple of years ago and the legal troubles that they faced. The catalyst there was understanding that the worst case scenario that everyone was predicting wasn't the most likely scenario. And because it wasn't the most likely scenario, then you had to find a range of value where it was the most likely. And if they achieved that most likely, based on where the stock was trading, which is between $5 and $7 a share, was there value based on that? Yes, there was, and history's proven out since then. So the two big areas are share buybacks and lately it's been companies with legal troubles. Far too often, I think people jump to the worst case scenario, whether it's a lawsuit or something like that, and they look at the big number, $10 billion settlement, like that's coming out today. Even J.P. Morgan's settlement today, $13 billion, $4 billion of that is consumer relief, which will be trickled out value-wise over years. Really won't make a material impact on anything that happens to the company. Yet it's being lauded as this toothy big settlement. Yeah, it hurts now. They have $30 billion, I think, reserved, $23 billion reserved for these settlements. So that money is already put away. They're going to pay it. Then the rest of this stuff will trickle through over years. And the reality is JP Morgan will get a nice little PR boost over the number of people they've helped with these, consumer relief efforts. So, but the reaction to these things is always to flush the shares down the toilet. And that's where you can find cheap, and there you can find a tremendous catalyst by standing back and unemotionally looking at that potential settlement, potential damages they're going to have to pay, finding a more realistic value by knowing that these things tend to settle on between 1 and 4 cents on the dollar. So if someone says it's a $100 billion lawsuit, okay, what's 3 or 4 billion? Worst, most likely 2 to 3. Do they have the reserves for it? What's it valued at now? And then there's your upside. Because people are going to assume the worst right off the bat.